Alright, so what I'm going to go over in this video is some examples of conversions, and there's three ways that conversions can happen. So we can do conversions from Standard American to Standard American. These are the ones that here in America we use. They don't get used anywhere else. These are things like pounds, inches, gallons. We can also go from Standard American to metric. And then finally you can go to metric. And so I'm going to show you the differences between each of these types of conversions, and I'm going to do a length, a volume, and a mass for each of these. So let's start out here with this problem here with length. I'm going to start with Standard American to Standard American because if these are the units we're primarily using here in the US, these should be conversions you should be able to do very easily because we do them all the time, except for we don't. And I'm going to show you why. So if we have 2,500 feet, how many miles is that? Well, in order to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ladder method. And so what we do with the ladder method is you actually take whatever your given amount was, and that's where you're going to start your ladder. And what you go ahead and do is you draw a ladder shape like so, and then we're going to put in our conversion factors. So what we have here are feet, and we need to get to miles. So if I look here, from feet, I have 3 feet in 1 yard. So I can take my 3 feet. Now, I'm not going to want to put it on the top. I'm going to want to put this 3 feet on the bottom. That way, I will be able to cross out the feet. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to take my yard and put that piece up here at the top. So now I have crossed out the feet. So now I'm at yard. Well, I'm not at miles yet, so I need to add another rung on my ladder. So I'm going to add my next rung. Now I have yards, and again I go up here to the different conversions I know, and 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. So now I can go ahead and take my yards, and again I don't want to put it at the top because then I'll have yards squared. I want to put it at the bottom. That way my yards will cancel out. And then I'm going to get the 1 mile. So I'll put the 1 mile here. So now going back, I can now cancel out my yards. Now I have 2,500, and the only unit left are miles. Well, this is what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Don't need the rest of that back. And we are going to go ahead and do the calculation. Well, the way that you do this calculation is you multiply across the top and you divide across the bottom. So if I'm going to go ahead and do that, I'm going to take 2,500 times 1 times 1, and then divided by 3, and divided by again 1,760, and that gives me 0.473 miles. So that would be my answer here. It is 0.47. Okay, so again, remember when we do this, we multiply across the top just like it was one big fraction. Okay, so we could multiply these ones too, and then we do the division of this horizontal line. Okay, so that was one with length. Alright, so now let's look at one with volume. Okay, again, we're starting with ounces. We want to get to gallons. So if I'm starting here at ounces, I have our 355 ounces. That's where I'm going to start my ladder. I then make my ladder brackets. Now, we then look at our conversion factors. What can I convert here? So, if I know I've got ounces, the only other one I see here with ounces here is to a cup. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to get my 8 ounces to a cup. So I'll put my 8 ounces on the bottom, the cup on the top. Now I have cups left, and so I'm going to then go through and find where is cup. So here I've got 1 pint equals 2 cups. When I bring it down, I don't want to put it on the same row as the cup, so I'm going to put it underneath so that the cups will cancel out. And now I am left with a pint. Then I need to look again here. Now I'm going to convert my pints into quarts. And then finally the quarts into gallons. Now when I do this, now I'm pretty sure I have all of these done correctly with the units, but the way we check is we actually cross them out. So I had ounces here, I can cross that out, ounces there. They canceled out. Next I want to cancel out my cups. One set of cups there, one set of cups there. Pints, one at the top, one at the bottom. Quarts, one at the top, one at the bottom, and all I'm left with is a gallon. So now you can see, in order to go from ounces to gallons, I needed a 4-rung ladder. I had 4 conversions. To go from feet to miles, I only needed 2 rungs. Okay. Alright, so how do we go through and figure this other part out and do the math? We multiply it across. Let's clear this out. We take our 355 and we multiply it by 1. And by 1 again, and by 1 again, and by 1 more time. Then we're going to divide. And what we want to divide it by is 8 divided by 2, divided by 2, and then finally divided by 4. And that gives us 2.77, and that is how many gallons are in 355 ounces. So we would then have our answer of 2.77. And this was gallons. I forgot to write the units here, but we are supposed to put our units there. This one was our miles. Alright, now on to mass. Alright, so our next one here, mass. We started here at 27 ounces. If we go up and we look at our conversion factors here, we can go directly from ounces to pounds. This was a fairly simple one here. And so we take our 16 ounces and we are going to place it so that it is on the other side of the ladder. And then this will go to our 1 pound. And here's a nice simple one where we only did need to have 1 rung of our ladder. So if we do that math, we would take our 27 ounces times the 1 pound divided by 16 ounces. And that would give us 1.68. Remember, our ounces had canceled out here, and so we end up with 1.68 pounds. Alright, so now this was standard American to standard American. Our next one that I'm going to have us look at is actually standard American to metric. Alright, so now for this one I have them already somewhat set up here. So this time we're going to go from American Standard feet to metric, kilometers. So in order to do this, basically what ends up happening is we have our 2,500 feet. We go up and I get our conversion factors of 12 inches and 1 foot. Well, this time, feet's here. We want to put the feet at the bottom, 12 inches up here at the top. Then we can go and look at our conversion factor here of 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. And we put inches on the bottom so that it'll cancel out, and centimeters here up on the top. Now here's where it gets easier. Alright, so here's where it gets easier. So we've now crossed out feet, crossed out inches. Now all we have left is centimeters. So we need to have centimeters here at the bottom. But because it's metric, I don't have to do a bunch of conversion factors. I know that I'm going to end up wanting kilometers. And then I just need to figure out how many centimeters are in 1 kilometer. Well, if we think of centimeter, centimeter was 100 of them in 1 meter. And then kilometers are 1,000 meters. So if we take 100 times 1,000, we end up with 100,000. And so if I put that value in here of our 100,000 centimeters, we then are able to do our conversion. So if I go and do the calculation for this, the way that we go ahead and do that is we take our 2,500, we're going to multiply it by 12, multiply it by 2.54 times the 1 for the kilometers, and then divide by the 1 foot, and divide by the 1 inch, and then divide by the 100,000 for the centimeters, and I end up with 0.76 kilometers. Alright, so let's take a look at volume. Volume, same basic premise. We start with 355 ounces. This time we're going to try and make it to liters. Okay, so we have a conversion up here to go from milliliters to ounces. So if I put my ounces so that the ounces will cancel out, I then have our milliliters. Well, I know if I put my milliliters down here, I can cancel them out. And I want to take milliliters to liters. So how many milliliters are in a liter? Well, milli means 1,000th. So there are going to be 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. If I then go ahead and do that in the calculator, I take my 355 that were from the ounces times the 29.57, which was from the milliliters, times the 1, which is from our liters. Then I'm going to divide by the 1 from the ounces and divide by the 1,000 from the milliliters, and I end up with 10.49 liters out of 355 ounces. So that's our value here, 10.49. And it's 10.49 liters. Alright, I'm going to stop here for this video, and I'm going to finish these on the next segment.